Homeschool parents, this is a message for you. As a homeschooler, I know you work hard for us. You have many different things to manage.
Our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program is your roadmap to a successful Waldorf homeschool journey. Gain the confidence you need to be the teacher your child wants and transform your homeschool experience. Homeschooling with Waldorf Essentials is one like no other. You not only have curriculum options, you can also add our Thinking, Feeling, Willing program onto your curriculum. What's in the Thinking, Feeling, Willing program? Rhythm, inner work, temperament, the Waldorf curriculum, learning and strengthening your skills in music, circle time, form drawing, handwork, painting, drawing, modeling, festivals, reading, writing, spelling, eurythmy and movement, and our bonus content. Something else you'll get when you join Waldorf Essentials that you will not find anywhere else is the community, and we all need that as homeschoolers.
This is your invitation to fill your cup. We know you're rooting for us. We are rooting for you too.
Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this week. We really wanted to talk about sort of Waldorf through a screen and how our Seasons of Seven virtual school accomplishes that. And really the best way to do that is to turn the table over to my good friend and the director of our Seasons of Seven school, Miss Melanie, and she's going to host the rest of this time and ask the rest of us that are here questions. So those of us that are here are all staff at Seasons of Seven, and we all have kids in the school in some way or another. So, Melanie.
Hello, hello. I'm excited about this conversation, especially since it's with some of my favorite people. I thought we could get started by first sharing why we chose to homeschool in general, so that everyone could start to get a sense of who we are as individuals and what journey we're on, so that you could see, maybe you could identify with one of us a little bit more. And sometimes it helps put our answers in perspective a little bit. So I'll start by sharing that Ulrich went to a Waldorf kindergarten or preschool, actually, when he was little, and it was magical and beautiful. But I was so frustrated every morning that I had to find shoes and make lunches that I said, I don't want to do this. I am going to homeschool. But really, the real reason I wanted to homeschool is that I was looking to build the deepest, richest bond and connection and relationship that I could with my child. And so every day I make choices, I ask the question, is this helping our bond and our relationship? And that is my main compass for why I homeschool. So Melissa, why did you choose to homeschool?
So I usually tell people it's because God told me to, but I'm actually going to just tell you that it's because I like to control things. I really don't trust a lot of people with my kids. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but even in the very beginning, because my oldest is about to be 27, in the very beginning, I was like, there's not a being on the planet that I would say, yes, go and be with these people all day long without me. And so while my why has changed and morphed over the years, that's really what it comes down to. Like, I don't trust a whole lot of people, especially in a school setting where you don't know that teacher very well. At Seasons of Seven, we know our teachers really, really well, but like in a regular school setting, you don't really know those teachers very well. And yeah, I'm not willing to give up that control. That just might be a little controlling.
That's so funny. Our temperaments are showing, right? I didn't want to find shoes and make lunches, and you didn't want to give up control.
I did not want to give up control.
Okay, thank you. Nicole, how about you? What made you decide to homeschool?
So originally we didn't plan to homeschool, and then we had our children and they brought our path in a different, beautiful direction. And they're actually the reason how we learned about Waldorf education. And when I first was brought to me, I like to research things out, and I dove right in, and I just wanted more and more and more and more. And it just felt so good and so healing for our children. And being with Waldorf has been the best thing, and bringing it like into the homeschool side of things. When I first started homeschooling, I just did like my own kind of thing because I didn't know about Waldorf at that time. And then I learned about Waldorf and had that smooth direction and path. And it's just been so wonderful, not only for our children, but also for our family.
Oh, so that's interesting. So you started homeschooling with more of a traditional system and then switched to Waldorf? Okay, that's interesting. Dina, how about you?
Well, as you know, we are in the same beautiful Waldorf community. And so when Naomi was in preschool, I also fell in love with Waldorf and in how enriching this particular community had so much to offer for homeschooling. And I just felt like I needed to take her on this different path. Also because I did not want her in school that many hours a day. I felt like it was just too many hours of academics and not enough time outside during the day or doing different activities that I feel are just as enriching as academics.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And Vanessa, how about you? What brought you to homeschool?
Gonna join in Melissa's choleric tendencies. I had a friend, well, I had multiple friends all putting their kids in preschool, and they're like, "Are you gonna join in?" And I was like, I researched a little bit, and I'm not allowed to send our own food, and I'm a health nut. And she responded, "So you value food more than education?" I was like, "Yes, at 3 years old, I do." And that's how I fell into homeschooling. It just led more and more closer to the day of signing up. And I was like, I had a couple of people be like, "You're going to homeschool." I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not. And I got closer and I was like, yes, I am.
That's great.
That's so funny how one thing always leads to another. It's amazing.
Mm.
The other thing that I really wanted and that I love about Seasons of Seven is that I wanted the freedom to live my very best life. I wanted the freedom to make the choices for me and for my family that were best for us and not have to make these choices around school. Now we can make school fit around our life and our passions. So that leads me into the next question. And that is, why did you choose S7 for your Waldorf experience? And how do you use S7? Because we have many, by S7, I mean Seasons of Seven. So why did you choose Seasons of Seven? And how do you use Seasons of Seven? Because we offer at Seasons of Seven different programs. We offer a full experience. We offer enrichment. We offer standalone classes. We have a wide range of offerings for different people. So why did you choose Seasons of Seven, Melissa?
So when we started school, I had my son, who's now 17, was in 8th grade, and my younger one was, I think, in 3rd grade. And we had started, because we started the school like really fast. And I had already done my planning for the 8th grade year. So he and I started, and the more we walked closer to starting the school, the more I felt like he really, at the time, he was 14, he really could use another person other than me to teach him. And it was right for him at the time. I don't know that it will be right for my daughter when she gets to that place, but it was totally right for him. So he's in full experience. He's been in full experience now. He is in 11th grade and he loves it. He loves the flexibility of it. He loves that, he can get his work done. He loves the teachers. I mean, all of that has really worked well for him. It also helped that some of his teachers have been people he knew outside of Seasons of Seven already. So for him, full experience. For my daughter, she's just in our enrichment, and that has been so like enriching for her. And the first year was a little different. She just took eurythmy that first year. And then when we like incorporated all the things, I was like, oh my gosh, I could take some things off my plate. Oh, now I don't have to worry about music and handwork or eurythmy or, all of those pieces were together. And so, that was really, really helpful. And so she's in the enrichment program. I don't see her ever not being in that program, even if I'm teaching her all the way through high school.
I remember us chatting about Sam that first year, and you were going back and forth, and then you said, wait, will Miss Jaya teach platonic solids?
Right. I was like, I don't want to teach that. I had already taught it 3 other times. I was like, please no. But no, that's totally right. Plus, I had this feeling that we handpicked these teachers. Like we sat and interviewed them all, and we didn't hire anybody that we wouldn't have been comfortable with our children. And so when it came to like who his teacher was going to be, I felt really comfortable because we had interviewed her and we had gotten to know her, and that was really a good step for him.
And she was able to push him in a way that a parent would not have been able to push him that year. That exact year, he really needed that.
Really needed that. Totally.
All right. So Nicole, how about you? How do you use Seasons of 7?
So I have 3 children, and when Seasons of 7 began, our daughter was in a charter school and our boys were homeschooling Waldorf. They were both Waldorf. And so when Seasons of 7 came about, it was just this perfect blend of all of our favorite parts of the charter school and our favorite parts of homeschooling coming together. And it gave us the best of both worlds. We got amazing teachers that did the lessons for us, and our kids got to have classmates that were caring and wonderful, and the enrichment pieces are all taken care of for you, so you don't have to work those. And then we still had that community connection and those wonderful Waldorf festivals. We still get to be part of all that, plus the benefit of being homeschooled. So our kids get to be at home, they get to be comfortable, they get to have the flexibility of doing the lessons in the best way that works for them. So it's not like, okay, they have 45 minutes to complete this one task and they're on to the next. They get to work at a time that works best for them. And it's just been so wonderful to be able to have that blend of those pieces and have wonderful teachers that our kids look up to and have those beautiful relationships.
Thank you. And all 3 of your children are in the school now, right?
Correct. All 3 of them are in the school and they've been for several years and they're happy.
Good. Okay, Dina, I'm going to ask you how you have incorporated Seasons of 7 and what your thoughts are.
So I really like to dabble in different things, a little bit in person, some online, a little bit of me teaching, just kind of just the way it kind of has all come together and as much Waldorf based as possible. And when she said the language she wanted to learn was French, I knew we would just do Seasons of 7 because Mr. Dorneman is so lively. And of course, as soon as she started taking his class, it really ignited her love of French. And I think it is because of the way it is Waldorf based, where he's using several different ways of teaching French and using their body by movement activities and singing songs and all the things that you love about Waldorf education wrapped up into teaching a foreign language, which I think is so beautiful. And down the road, if there's ever something else we can take that's either a standalone or the full thing, we would definitely jump right into it as well.
Well, thank you. I love your perspective because some families do want to dabble. Some families do want to have a little in-person piece and a little piece that they're teaching, and then a little piece from Seasons of Seven. And some families want to hop on the cruise ship and have it take them all the way through. And it's just nice to see that it's been working for everybody. So Vanessa, how about you? How has Seasons of Seven worked for you?
So I have 3 points to kind of round the whole situation out. So I am not a dabbler. Going back to my temperaments, I am an all-inner or an all-outer. But I had the blessing to start working for Seasons of Seven first, and I was not planning to join. Eventually, I thought like, oh, when Kai's a high schooler, like, yes, I want help, I will put him in. But I had the opportunity to get to see everything in action behind the scenes, and it made me fall in love with it and be like, actually, the help would be nice. So we did enrichment for half of the year as a dabbler, which is not my tendency, but I was like, it'll give us a feel if we can make it work, which I think the enrichment only is a great opportunity to try it out and see how it would work. And it worked for us, and now we're in the full class experience and are loving it. And that's just my personality. I can only choose one thing, and I want to go that route. And I have my whole like every day, like when I wake up and I start working, I'm always like, okay, not everyone can work for Seasons of Seven and see how amazing it is, but like, how can I translate that from work to wanting to be that family and still loving it so much to invite everyone to join? I lost my third train of thought in there, but it was, yeah.
That's because
I'll
your
edit
second
myself
train
out
is
here.
so beautiful.
There was a third thing there, and I can't remember now that of it, but oh no, my third thing was that I had always in my mind envisioned like, okay, one day I'm going to outsource something, because I had seen all these different opportunities. And I think if you have that in your mind already, like one day I want to outsource something. And it's because I was just drained of like, how do I like restart my life every time I move, and like research all these things and start a new co-op and teach myself long division again, and these things that I was like, oh no, it's literally like kind of welcoming this opportunity that we can still be homeschoolers, we can still do this together, because that's the beauty too. Like Kai's in grade 4 and we sit down and I do everything with him still. So it's not that I'm like, here's this, go off on your own. Like we are doing it together, but it's taking away my time. Like I'm getting more time back with him of not planning, not preparing all the things. Like I'm like, I love painting now because I'm not doing it ahead of time. Like we're literally sitting side by side and I'm like, can the painting lesson go like 20 more minutes? Like
That's a great point, Vanessa, because yes, Seasons of Seven are fully guided teacher-led lessons, but some families use them as, you know, their child watches the lesson and their child does the lesson and the parent is close, ready to assist. But some families use it more the way you use it, where they are side by side with their child, bring it to them at the same time as the teacher. And so it's what is best for the families itself. So I guess the big question next is, what differences have you seen by having Seasons of Seven in your homeschool or even in your life in general?
Want me to go?
Go ahead.
I think that, aside from our administrative space where we get to know the teachers, of course, I would say that it allows me in many of the ways that Vanessa's saying that she uses full experience, the way we use it, it allows me to not have to stress about those things. Like I am an avid hand worker. I can knit most people under the table, but I don't have to think about the projects. Like it's already there for me. It's already there for my daughter. I don't have to be like, oh no, we have to make dolls next and have to, make sure that I know everything because I haven't made a doll in 5 years. Like Maggie's going to be there and she's going to do it. And music is not my strong suit, but Mark will be there just to take it on. So I feel like for me, like it's really helped to have it's helped me personally not to have to worry about that part of it. I love the rest of the planning that I do in the curriculum and the work that we do together. But those extra pieces, it's really helpful to me that they take that on. And I love that they're in our house every week. I
Mhm.
love that they're in our living room. I love that even though they're they're on the other side of the screen and I'm not allowed to be in the picture, um, I love that they're, that Mark's in my house singing, that Maggie's in here working on handwork, that, Tiffany is in here doing things. I love that. I love that space that my child is cultivating with these humans that I think are pretty amazing human beings. Otherwise, they wouldn't work for us, right? So we've brought people that I really want them to get to know. And I find that just absolutely beautiful. And it's really enriched our homeschool experience.
Well, what's really cool about Seasons of Seven is, yes, the teacher comes in and works with your child every week, but you as the parent also have the opportunity every week to go in and work with the teacher in the parent office hours. And that's a unique offering that we do.
Okay.
So let me ask Dina, since you're doing enrichment, Melissa, and Dina's doing a standalone class, and then we'll ask the full experience people. But Dina, have you seen any changes by having your daughter do French in a virtual format?
Well, first of all, to even find French as a homeschooler for your child, how difficult is that? And now you can have it with an amazing teacher, and he's Waldorf and he's animated and amazing. And so I feel really lucky to even have an opportunity like this for her. Yes, you can use an app for different foreign languages, sure, but um, I listen in on his class because he's so lively and so fun. And I mean, just hear the kids giggling the whole time. I just feel like it brings joy really to your home, right? It's not a open and shut kind of thing. It's happening, it's still alive, you know, even if it isn't in person, it really is still so lively.
And it gets to actually come into your home and you
Right.
get to listen. So there are other benefits as well.
For sure.
Nicole, how about you? You're doing full experience, full load with 3 kiddos. How's that feeling?
Oh, there's so much wonderful things to say about it. I'm going to share a couple highlights. So when our daughter was in 8th grade, she did the 8th grade project, and she is very inward and has social anxiety, and she chose to volunteer at the Humane Society. And it was so much more than that project to her. It literally was life-changing. We got to watch her bloom. And at the end of it, she was so proud of herself that she mustered up the courage to give her presentation and share about all these wonderful dogs that she had taken care of over the months of that project. And it was just so beautiful for her. And then for our oldest, in music class, he's never played the piano before, like doesn't know how to read notes or anything. And in music class, they collaborate together and make these beautiful music pieces that the class has worked on together. And so he will sit down at the piano and like figure out some complex tunes so that he can send them in for their collaboration. And it's been amazing to watch him to like dive in and be inspired by that. And then I'll just chime in about it being in your home. It's just such a beautiful experience. Isaiah, my youngest, will see my oldest doing a science experiment with like magnets, and he will jump in on the lesson because he's just so excited about what the other one is learning. So it's neat to see how it impacts the whole family, but then also how it creates them to go out into the community And with the guardianship program, they're working on service as well. And it's just overall such a beautiful experience.
Thank you. Vanessa, do you have any thoughts to add on how Seasons of Seven possibly changed your homeschool or even your life?
So I'll continue it on my questions about my food preferences. You also all like always get questions about why are you homeschooling? Why are you doing this? I'm a very stubborn person and I'm going to homeschool regardless of what other people's opinions are. But it's very nice to show up to parent office hours here. Other parents are being challenged, brainstorm together, have Daniela's wisdom of how to not let these people like come in and interrupt, like how you're feeling, like actually enjoy your homeschooling and not how to navigate the challenges. So I feel like it gives you this weight that is lifted off of your shoulders of these, like as moms, all these different hats we're wearing of like, oh, does the car need an oil change? Like, when is the dentist appointment? All these things. It's one thing is being handed over in a way that you're also supported, being able to show up in parent office hours, know exactly what is happening. Miss Daniela will lead you through long division, so you don't have to Google it. You can still have it Waldorf for your own parent office hour. Like we literally do math problems together so that we know how to then help the child. So I think you're given, like, I don't personally have a relationship with my mother or my family, and I feel like I'm given this nurturing person to come in and be like, Vanessa, you don't have this mothering role to fulfill you in your homeschooling, and here is Miss Daniela to provide that time. So I think it's very healing how I think Nicole was saying earlier, not just the kids, but also the parents too.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was very beautiful. So I run a director's question and answer session every Monday. And something that comes up sometimes is that families are struggling with pace and consistency. Does anyone have anything to add about, did being with Seasons of Seven help with that at all?
I'm happy to talk about that. As homeschooling in the past on my own and with curriculum and Waldorf Essentials, it's nice to set up your plan and make your beautiful plan and have your, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick to my plan, and then life happens and sometimes it easily falls apart, and then you're like trying to play catch up and like get back in the pace of things. But with Seasons of Seven, like the teachers have that plan laid out, so then you're just following along with their plan. So it helps you to stay accountable, to stay on track, to keep up and pace with that. And it also helps the children as well to have that rhythm to their day, to know what to expect. And then at first, we're all adjusting to things, but once you get into that rhythm, it just feels so good. Like, for instance, Isaiah's been with his teacher and his classmates for 4 years. So he knows exactly what to expect and what's going to be on each day of the week. And so he knows Monday is going to be form drawing and Tuesday is going to be painting. And then that the class is going to meet on Thursday. And it's more of like a student hour where they get to hang out more together. And it just adds to a beautiful rhythm to our day.
Thank you. Okay. So one of the questions that we get a lot is who are our teachers? And I guess what I want to ask you guys is why did you feel comfortable with our teachers, and why do you trust the teachers at Seasons of Seven with your kids' education? Melissa, do you want to speak to that first?
Sure. So, of course, we interviewed them all. And what was funny is I remember watching some of their interview videos, and some of their interview videos were really clunky, but we interviewed them anyway. And those became some of our favorite teachers, right? Like it was like, oh, well, like once we met them, it was way better. We were building that relationship. We began to build that relationship. And I just like I said earlier, I wanted to make sure we hired people that I was going to let my kids be with. And this year, having the medical issues we had, I put Soraya in Miss Daniela's class for the first week. And they ended up pulling her back out because she wanted mom to teach her. And she said she didn't care if she had to go to school through the summer. She would do that so that I could teach her. So it wasn't not anything to do with Miss Daniela, because she loved Miss Daniela. But I felt so blessed that this woman, who I've never seen the whites of her eyes face to face, I know some of you have, but I've never met her face to face. She was willing to take my child, and knowing what was going on in her home, knowing what was happening. And that's what we need more of, like in our culture. And so, I trust these people, men and women from all over the world, that we've come together to create something amazing. Because I think something that really sets Seasons of Seven apart is it's not just a job. They all love being here. It doesn't mean everybody stays. Some people cycle through, but when they're here, they're all in. And it's really hard to find people that are all in today. They're
And
all into growing Seasons of Seven, not just for their own gain, but for Waldorf education.
Yes. And I met Miss Daniela this summer in person, and what was really amazing is it was like I talked to her every day. She was exactly who she is through the screen is who she was in person. I just felt her soul and I felt her character, and it was like meeting an old friend. There was no awkward moments. There was no awkward pauses. It just amazed me that we were able to form these true relationships through the screen. And Vanessa, I know that you just went and met Daniela as well, and some classmates as well. So maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
She definitely is who she is in real life. I primarily went there to help my son navigate from, we had been homeschooling till this past year, and then jumping into this, I think he needed to physically see his teacher and navigate that. And his biggest question as we were going was how big is Miss Danielle, or how tall is she going to be? Is she because on the screen she's only this tall. So he was wondering when I meet her, how much taller is she going to be than me? But she definitely was who she is through the screen. In person, meeting her, she is such a genuine heart, and you can feel that through the screen and in the class and in her physical presence too. And she did so well going to meet each child and making sure they felt that individual time with her. And she's so good at she has a lot of students between all her classes, and she still would be okay, Kai likes baseball, and she's telling him stories about when she used to work in stadiums, and his mind was blown, oh my gosh, she's so cool. And so she just made sure to fill each child's bucket, but also connect with each parent and check in. And really I feel the parent office hours are where you get to meet your teacher and trust them and build that relationship. And all the parents that were at her parent office hours regularly, those were the ones that showed up in person. So it is this tight-knit community, and then it makes you want to be I would like to see you out of the screen. Let's go meet. And so yes, it was amazing. And it definitely, I did not trust her before I met her in person, but it just more solidified yes, we made a great decision.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. Before you go, I have one more question to ask everybody, but you can answer it in one word, just a few words. We don't have to, dive deep into this. I just want to know, is Waldorf through the screen possible? Was it what you expected? And would you say that it is the equivalent of something that you could get, like, example through the public school virtual system? So I know that's a big question, but really what I'm asking is, was it what you expected? And do you think that it can be found somewhere else right now? So I'm just going to go quickly.
It was not what I expected, because when we started this, we were like, yeah, we think it can happen. Like we had our other program, we had our Waldorf Essentials program, and we did a lot of things through the screen, but we held our breath in the beginning. Like, we think it can happen, but it has far surpassed anything I ever could have thought. Anytime I ever was like, oh no, how's that festival gonna look through the screen? It's always like blown my mind. Like, just blown my mind, where I felt like we were right there. I was thinking about last year, Daniela's spiral that she holds every year, and we feel like we're there. Like, everybody in our house turns off the lights, we sit around the computer, and yes, we're around the computer, but we feel like we're there. And so it definitely translates through the screen. Like, I think that there's nothing like it. I think that there is nothing like it. And I think that sort of the way we train our teachers and the things that we expect from our teachers, that sets us apart.
Nicole?
This has been the best fit for our children. Being able to have teachers while being at home is just the perfect thing for them. It's been a beautiful journey.
Dina?
Better than expected, for sure.
And Vanessa?
Didn't ever think I would do it online, but after working for you guys and seeing the behind the scenes, I was like, don't do that.
All right, ladies, I love you all. Thank you for coming. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.
Thanks for joining us.
The vision of education has changed. More and more families have seen the benefits of homeschooling and are choosing a different life. Our desire is to bring together qualified teachers with families who are yearning for a Steiner-centered experience. We are a worldwide virtual school. Our goal is to give every child the opportunity to have a true Steiner-centered education at an affordable price, all while allowing families the flexibility to follow their passions. We invite you to attend our question and answer, or send us an email with all your questions and start envisioning how Seasons of 7 can help your family live their best life.